The president's right in that fucking bill! Don't beat me to the money!
Got the beast. 2 Suburbans right up busting out.
Beast, beast, beast! Reporters moving out. Gunner, point, check, move it. Crash it! Bust the cross!
Following me, I'm going left. You move when I move.
A seasoned war photographer, a hotshot reporter, an aspiring young photographer, and an aging journalist embark on a perilous cross-country journey through a brutally divided America. Their goal? Reach Washington, D.C. before the Western forces capture the president, hoping to secure an unprecedented interview and document the final cataclysmic moments of a nation tearing itself apart, confronting unimaginable horrors and ethical dilemmas along the way.
Gotta move!
Stay.
Now let's get right on down to the skit hit. The reason for this, the mother way has been a way up to date. Believers and believers will walk to it, then have none of that. Tell them what to say, Mace. Word to the mother, I'll tell the truth. Go, 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 go!
What are you talking about? I can't drive.
He's bleeding.
No, no.
Hey, you, telling you.
Let's go.
Get to the blocking position.
Look out! Don't beat me to the money!
Got the beast. Two Suburbans right up, busting out.
Beast, beast, beast!
He's not in there.
Let's go!
Hey guys, today we are diving headfirst into a movie that, let's just say, hits a little too close to home for comfort. We're breaking down Alex Garland's chilling and utterly visceral Civil War. This isn't your average popcorn flick. It's a relentless, high-stakes ride through a fractured America, seen through the eyes of journalists trying to capture the truth amidst the chaos. We'll be going scene by scene, moment by moment, through every heart-stopping, thought-provoking beat. I put a lot of work into these, so if you like what you see, a like and a subscribe is always appreciated. No worries if not.
Our story kicks off in a New York City hotel room, a far cry from the serene tourist spots, with the ominous rhythmic thud of distant gunfire serving as a constant, unsettling backdrop. Lee Miller, played by the incredibly intense Kirsten Dunst, a legendary photojournalist whose eyes have seen more horrors than most people could even imagine, is in the thick of it. She's watching a news report, her face a mask of weary professionalism, as the President of the United States, who has somehow managed to secure an unprecedented third term, a detail that definitely raises an eyebrow or 10, confidently but vaguely addresses the nation about a supposed decisive victory in what's clearly a raging civil war. The contrast between his polished words and the raw sounds of conflict outside is immediate and jarring. Lee, with her camera resting almost like a natural extension of her arm, simply clicks off the TV. She knows the real story isn't on the news. It's out there in the streets. Suddenly, the relative quiet of the hotel room shatters. An explosion rips through the building, a deafening roar followed by a shower of dust, debris, and the high-pitched shriek of buckling metal. It's a baptism by fire, literally, and it perfectly encapsulates the film's relentless pace and tension. Lee, ever the professional, doesn't flinch. Her camera is up in an instant, the shutter clicking, capturing the terror and chaos with an almost automatic precision. This is her world, and she documents it unflinchingly. Joel, a fellow war correspondent, played with a palpable mix of adrenaline and dark humor by Wagner Moura, is right there with her, pulling her away from immediate danger with a hurried urgency. His energy is infectious, almost manic, a man seemingly addicted to the rush of danger and the pursuit of the next big story. It's in the aftermath of this explosive introduction that we meet the rest of our motley crew. Sammy, played by the late Stephen McKinley Henderson, is the wise, world-weary elder statesman of the group, a journalist of the old guard, tired but still driven by a profound sense of duty. He's seen it all, and his presence offers a grounding, almost melancholic perspective. And then there's Jessie, a young, aspiring photographer, portrayed by Kayleigh Spaney, who practically vibrates with nervous energy and a desperate need to prove herself. She idolizes Lee, seeing her as the epitome of the fearless, objective photojournalist. Jessie, still fresh-faced and relatively naive, is a stark contrast to Lee's hardened exterior, her eagerness a fragile beacon against the grim reality they inhabit.
The decision is made. The four of them, a mismatched quartet united by their profession and a shared objective, are heading to Washington, D.C. The goal? To interview the president before the Western forces, an alliance of California and Texas, which, let's be honest, is a team-up nobody saw coming, finally breach the White House. It's a mission fraught with imaginable danger, but for them, it's the story of a lifetime, perhaps the story that will define their careers if they survive it. Joel, with his trademark bravado, views it as the journalistic Everest, the ultimate scoop. Lee, more pragmatic, understands the stakes aren't just professional, but personal, almost existential. She's seen enough wars to know that sometimes the only way to make sense of the madness is to document it. Their journey begins, and almost immediately the film immerses us in the terrifying new normal of this fractured America. The roads are a patchwork of desolate stretches and sudden, brutal checkpoints. The landscape is dotted with the grim reminders of conflict, burned-out cars, abandoned homes, the skeletal remains of what once was a functioning society. It's a land where the rules have dissolved, replaced by arbitrary power and the constant threat of violence. The silence, when it comes, is often more unnerving than the noise,
punctuated only by the crunch of their tires on debris or the distant, muffled echo of unseen conflict. Their first truly harrowing encounter comes at a gas station, a seemingly innocuous stop that quickly devolves into a chilling standoff. A couple of heavily armed men, clearly not official military but rather self-appointed enforcers of some obscure local order, are manning the pumps. They embody the terrifying arbitrariness of the conflict. One of them, almost casually, asks Lee the most loaded question imaginable. "Are you an American?" The question, meant to identify loyalty, is a chilling reminder that national identity itself has become a weapon. Lee, with years of experience navigating these kinds of situations in far-flung war zones, keeps her composure. She answers calmly, her camera discreetly ready. But the tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. Joel, ever the negotiator, tries to defuse the situation, his smooth words barely masking the underlying threat. It's here that Jessie's inexperience becomes painfully evident. She's wide-eyed, struggling to process the sheer absurdity and danger of the situation. Lee, seeing the younger woman's fear, offers quiet words of guidance, reminding her to stay focused, to keep her lens steady. The gas station scene culminates in a brutal display of summary justice as one of the armed men executes a bound individual with cold, clinical efficiency. The crack of the rifle shot reverberates through the air, followed by a sickening thud as the body falls. Jessie flinches, horrified. Lee, though visibly shaken, forces herself to capture the image, a testament to her unwavering commitment to documenting the truth, no matter how ugly. Sammy, for his part, watches with a quiet despair, his face etched with the pain of a man who's seen this story play out too many times before. It's a stark, brutal lesson for Jessie. In this world, life is cheap, and humanity is a rapidly diminishing currency. And just like that, the gas station becomes a symbol of the war itself, mundane locations transforming into execution grounds. As their journey continues, the team faces another intense challenge, a sniper hidden in a serene, almost idyllic suburban landscape. They're driving along a tree-lined road, the kind of place where kids used to ride bikes and neighbors gossiped over fences, when suddenly the air is torn apart by the sharp whip crack of a rifle shot. The bullet impacts the car with a metallic clang, sending shivers down their spines. Joel slams on the brakes and they scramble for cover, the sound of their hurried breaths mingling with the persistent pop, pop, pop of the sniper's rifle. Lee, with her characteristic calm under fire, assesses the situation. She spots the glint of sunlight off a strobe, high in a dilapidated building. This isn't a random act, it's calculated, deadly. Jessie, however, is overwhelmed. The sheer volume of incoming fire, the terrifying proximity of death pushes her to her limit. She curls up, her hands over her ears, the sounds of bullets tearing through the air, a visceral assault on her senses. Lee, again, steps into the role of mentor and protector. She doesn't coddle Jessie, but firmly urges her to get her camera up, to find the shot, to do her job. "Get your lens on it, Jessie," she commands, her voice steady despite the chaos. It's a harsh but necessary lesson. Fear is a luxury they can't afford, and the camera is their shield, their purpose. The sniper, revealed to be a lone young man, is eventually neutralized by some passing military forces. But the encounter leaves a lasting scar. The image of the fallen sniper, a kid really, lying in a pool of his own blood, is burned into Jessie's memory. This isn't a clean war with clear uniforms. It's a messy, fragmented conflict where anyone can be a combatant or a victim. The reality that even a sniper can look like he's just waiting for the school bus is a truly gut-punching detail. The road trip takes them through increasingly desolate and unsettling territory, eventually leading them to an encampment run by a local militia leader simply known as Tony. The camp itself is a patchwork of ramshackle tents and repurposed vehicles, a testament to a society that has devolved into localized, self-sufficient, and often brutal rule. Tony, a man with a chillingly calm demeanor, greets them with a wary suspicion. He's not outright hostile, but his eyes betray a deep-seated distrust of outsiders, especially those with cameras. He's a product of this new world, a man who has adopted by taking control, albeit with questionable methods. The air around them is thick with the smell of wood smoke, unwashed bodies, and an underlying current of fear. It's within this camp that they stumble upon a horrific discovery. Mass graves, recently dug, filled with bodies. The sheer scale of the atrocity is breathtakingly grim. The silence of the dead is a deafening counterpoint to the distant sounds of gunfire. Lee, her face unreadable, methodically photographs the scene, capturing the cold, stark truth of the genocide. Joel, equally professional, records notes, his voice low and somber. But it's Jessie who once again bears the brunt of the emotional impact. The sight of so many lives extinguished, so carelessly, so brutally, tears at her. She fights back tears, struggling to maintain her professional composure, her hands trembling as she tries to focus her lens. Sammy, wise and weary, offers her a comforting hand on her shoulder, a silent acknowledgement of the pain and the burden they all carry. He knows this is the price of bearing witness. Tony, observing them, offers no apology or explanation, only a chillingly detached comment about what you have to do to win. It's a moment that highlights the moral ambiguities and the absolute breakdown of human decency that war invariably brings. You find yourself thinking, are these the good guys or the bad guys? And the uncomfortable answer is, does it even matter anymore? As they continue their westward journey, the signs of a more organized, albeit still brutal, military presence become apparent. They're approaching Charlottesville, a key staging ground for the Western forces. The air thrums with a different kind of tension now, a sense of impending, large-scale conflict. Convoys of armored vehicles rumble past, their heavy treads churning up dust. Soldiers in camouflage move with purpose, their faces grimly determined. The sounds are different too. The distant but distinct thud of artillery, the rhythmic chopping of helicopter blades overhead, the constant chatter of military radios. It's the eve of a major offensive, and our journalists are walking right into the heart of it. The scale feels immense, a terrifying counterpoint to the localized horrors they've witnessed. They embed themselves with a contingent of Western forces soldiers who, despite being on what is ostensibly their side, remain wary of the journalists. The soldiers are exhausted, but there's a grim resolve in their eyes. They talk in hushed tones about the deadliest day that is about to unfold, the final push to take DC. The camp is a flurry of activity, soldiers cleaning weapons, poring over maps, sharing last cigarettes, and the occasional dark joke about their chances. Lee and Joel move among them, capturing moments of camaraderie, fear, and grim determination. Jessie, ever learning, mimics Lee's movements, trying to anticipate the shots, to capture the raw human emotion in the face of impending battle. She's less shaky now, more focused, her camera becoming more of a tool than a shield. But amidst all this, Sammy's health begins to visibly deteriorate. The stress, the lack of proper sustenance, and the sheer physical toll of the journey are catching up to him. He coughs more frequently, his steps are slower, and his breath comes in ragged gasps. He insists on continuing, driven by that same old-school journalistic ethic, but his body is clearly failing him. It's a sad, quiet detail amidst the surrounding clamor, a poignant reminder of the human cost beyond just bullets and bombs. The battle for Charlottesville erupts with a deafening fury. The transition from tense anticipation to full-blown urban combat is instantaneous and overwhelming. The film plunges us directly into the heart of the firefight, a cacophony of sound and fury. The air is thick with the scent of gunpowder and dust, mingling with the acrid smell of burning fuel. Explosions rip through buildings, sending showers of concrete and glass raining down. The staccato bark of automatic gunfire becomes a constant, terrifying symphony, punctuated by the high-pitched whine of ricocheting bullets and the booming percussion of heavy ordnance. Soldiers shout orders, screams echo through the debris-strewn streets, and the rhythmic thud of combat boots pound against shattered pavement. It's a sensory overload, designed to make the audience feel every terrifying second. Our team, caught in the inferno, navigates this hellscape with a desperate urgency. Lee, ever the veteran, moves with a calculated precision, her camera snapping away, capturing the raw, unedited moments of war. She documents the fear, the heroism, the brutal reality of soldiers fighting street by street, room by room. Joel, his adrenaline pumping, shouts observations into his recorder, his voice hoarse but determined to get every detail. Jessie, no longer the terrified novice, is now fully immersed, her camera a third eye, capturing images with a newfound clarity and focus. She's learning to anticipate the action, to find the human story amidst the devastation. She's found her rhythm, albeit in the most horrific of circumstances. It's a strange kind of growth, blossoming in a field of death.
Then disaster strikes. As they navigate a particularly perilous alleyway, a burst of gunfire erupts, dangerously close. In a split second, an act of selfless heroism unfolds. Sammy, seeing Jessie exposed, shoves her out of the way, taking the full impact of the bullets himself. The sickening thud of the rounds hitting his body is almost drowned out by the renewed flurry of gunfire, but the shock of his sacrifice is immediate and profound. He collapses, a pool of crimson blooming rapidly beneath him. Lee, Joel, and Jesse rush to his side, their professional detachment shattering into raw grief and horror. Sammy, gasping for breath, delivers his final poignant words, urging them to continue, to go get the shot, to finish their mission. His eyes, once full of weary wisdom, now reflect a quiet acceptance. He dies there in the rubble-strewn street, a casualty of the very war he dedicated his life to documenting. The deafening sounds of combat briefly seem to fade, replaced by a terrible, hollow silence in the immediate vicinity of his death. It's a devastating blow, a visceral reminder that no one is safe and that even the observers can become the observed. Sammy, bless his old heart, wanted to see the finish line, but the finish line found him first. Sammy's death galvanizes the remaining three. Grief-stricken but resolute, they press on, the weight of his sacrifice adding a new, somber urgency to their mission. The journey towards DC becomes a grim pilgrimage, marked by the constant hum of military machinery and the unsettling stillness of abandoned towns. They drive through landscapes that feel increasingly apocalyptic, past bombed-out factories, collapsed bridges, and endless stretches of scorched earth. The air, thick with dust and the faint scent of decay, is a constant reminder of the war's pervasive destruction. It's a world stripped bare, where every surviving structure tells a silent story of conflict and loss. You wonder if anyone even remembers what traffic felt like anymore. The psychological toll on the group deepens. Lee, always stoic, now carries an even heavier burden of sorrow and responsibility. Her protective instincts towards Jesse become more pronounced, a silent promise to Sammy that she will keep the young photographer safe. Joel, while still maintaining his professional facade, occasionally lets slip glimpses of his own weariness and moral conflict. He's seen too much, and the line between journalist and participant is blurring with every step closer to the capital. Jessie, hardened by Sammy's death and her own growing exposure to the war's brutality, has transformed. She's no longer the naive apprentice. Her eyes hold a new, piercing clarity, and her camera work is more assertive, more deliberate. She's found her voice, or rather her lens, in the crucible of war. She's becoming Lee, and that's both a triumph and a tragedy. There are close calls, naturally. They narrowly escape a rogue drone strike, the sudden high-pitched whine of the incoming projectile, a truly terrifying sound, followed by a concussive blast that rattles their bones. They evade desperate scavengers, their hungry eyes glinting in the fading light. Every interaction, every stretch of road is fraught with peril, a constant reminder of the thin veil separating life from death. The scarcity of resources is also a growing concern. Fuel is rationed, food is scarce, and clean water is a luxury. These logistical challenges amplify the emotional and physical exhaustion, making every mile an arduous struggle. The ethical questions that have quietly simmered throughout the film now rise to the surface with greater intensity. By embedding with the Western forces, are they inadvertently taking a side? Can true journalistic objectivity exist when the stakes are so high and the lines so blurred? Lee and Joel debate these points in hushed tones, acknowledging the compromises they've made, the gray areas they navigate. Their mission to interview the president has become more than just a scoop. It's a quest for understanding, for documentation, for a final, definitive record of how a nation crumbled. They are not just reporters anymore. They are historians, chroniclers of a tragic, epoch-defining moment. Finally, they reach the outskirts of Washington, D.C. The scale of the Western forces' assault is immediately apparent. It's a full-blown military siege, a spectacle of overwhelming force and relentless destruction. The cityscape is shrouded in smoke and dust, the once majestic monuments now silhouetted against a backdrop of fire and chaos. The sounds are a monstrous symphony of war, the continuous thunder of artillery shells impacting, the rhythmic pulse of machine gun fire, the screams of jets streaking overhead, the guttural roar of tanks rumbling through the streets. It's a grand, horrific tableau, unlike anything they've witnessed before. This isn't just a battle, it's the culmination of a nation's demise. Their vehicle, somehow still functioning, weaves through the advancing Western forces, past columns of grim-faced soldiers. The closer they get to the White House, the more intense the fighting becomes. Sniper fire peppers buildings, grenades explode with concussive force, and the air crackles with the energy of 1,000 deadly conflicts converging on a single point. It's a strategic push, relentless and methodical, to breach the ultimate symbol of American power. The White House, once an emblem of stability and democracy, is now a fortress under siege, its iconic facade scarred by bullet holes and explosions, its grounds a war zone. They managed to breach the outer defenses with the Western forces, pushing their way into the White House itself. The interior is a labyrinth of smoke-filled corridors, echoing with the sounds of close-quarters combat. Soldiers clash in brutal hand-to-hand fights. Gunfire erupts from every corner, and the screams of the wounded mingle with the shouts of orders. The ornate decor of the White House is desecrated, priceless artifacts shattered, walls riddled with bullet holes, floors slick with blood and debris. It's a grotesque distortion of power and privilege, a symbol being torn apart from the inside. They are not just reporting on the war anymore. They are moving through it, dodging bullets, ducking explosions, their cameras becoming extensions of their desperate need to survive and document. It's like a particularly aggressive game of hide and seek, but with live ammunition and significantly higher stakes. Lee, Joel, and Jesse navigate this nightmarish maze, following the advancing troops, driven by the singular goal of finding the president. They push past dying soldiers, through rooms filled with the acrid smell of burnt flesh and cordite. The tension is almost unbearable, every shadow a potential threat, every corner a possible ambush. The sounds are sharp, immediate, the metallic clang of a rifle butt hitting a skull, the wet thud of a body falling, the urgent whispers of soldiers coordinating their movements. Finally, they reach the Oval Office, the very heart of American power. The room is in disarray, a testament to the chaos that has engulfed the nation. The president, pale and visibly shaken, is barricaded with his last remaining Secret Service agents, their faces grim and defeated. His confident bluster, so evident in the opening news report, has completely evaporated, replaced by a raw, desperate fear. This isn't the all-powerful leader he presented himself to be. It's a cornered man facing his inevitable downfall. The Western forces breach the Oval Office, and the final, brutal confrontation unfolds. The Secret Service agents make a valiant but futile last stand. Gunfire erupts, a chaotic, close-range facility. In the midst of this final desperate melee, Lee, the veteran photojournalist, performs her ultimate act of sacrifice. As the Western forces soldiers converge on the president, ready to take him out, Lee positions herself to get the perfect shot, the defining image of the war's end. But as she focuses her lens, she realizes she's in a direct line of fire. In a split second, she pushes Jesse forward, ensuring the younger woman is perfectly positioned to capture the moment. She yells, "Get the shot, Jesse." And then, with a heartbreaking finality, Lee takes the bullet intended for Jesse, collapsing to the floor, her camera falling from her grasp.
Jessie, reeling from the shock and grief, instinctively raises her camera, her mentor's final words echoing in her ears. Through a blur of tears, she focuses, her lens capturing the horrific, definitive moment. The President of the United States, his face contorted in fear, being executed by Western forces soldiers. The crack of the fatal shot, the chilling silence that follows, the lifeless slump of his body, all are immortalized through Jesse's lens. It's the shot of a lifetime, the one Lee died for, the one that defines the end of an era. The Western forces soldier, having completed his grim task, turns towards Jesse, his eyes cold and unwavering, and simply says, "Good shot." It's a final, chilling validation of their brutal mission and a confirmation of Jesse's new, horrifying reality as a true war photographer. The camera clicks one last time, freezing the image, the silence of the room now heavy with the weight of history. What a world where a final act of journalism is met with such a chilling compliment. And there we have it, the final image of the president's execution, captured by Jesse's lens, reverberates with the profound weight of a nation irrevocably broken. The Western forces soldiers, stoic and efficient, pose for a photograph over his lifeless body, a disturbing tableau that perfectly encapsulates the cold, clinical brutality of their victory and the total collapse of the old order. The mission is complete, but the cost for Lee, for Sammy, and for the very soul of the nation is immeasurable. The film doesn't offer neat resolutions or easy answers, but instead leaves us with the stark, unblinking truth of what happens when a country turns against itself. It's a gut punch, not a pat on the back. As we reflect on the journey we've just undertaken, traversing a fractured America through the eyes of those who seek to capture its unraveling, we're left with a profound sense of introspection. Civil war compels us to confront not just the horrors of conflict, but the fragile threads that hold societies together. It asks us to consider the immense power and the inherent danger of truth-telling in an era of chaos, and the personal sacrifices demanded of those who bear witness. The film leaves an indelible mark, not with its explosions, but with its quiet moments of human struggle and its unvarnished portrayal of a nation's soul laid bare, urging us to cherish the peace we often take for granted. Civil War is a relentless, visceral, and utterly unforgettable cinematic experience. It's not an easy watch, but it's an essential one, offering a chillingly plausible look at the fragility of society and the immense human cost when dialogue fails. It masterfully uses its action to drive its deeper, more uncomfortable questions about journalism, power, and national identity. What do you think the film truly says about the role of truth in a divided world?